Welcome to Bird Spray Sports, where we weekly cover Ravens and Orioles news. We're your hosts, TJ and Jared. And in this video, we're going to be doing a little bit of a bye week, analysis, team analysis, what direction we're going in. And, to start off, actually, I'm gonna ask you a question. What are your thoughts on the team heading into the bye week, or after the bye week, I should say?
Yeah, I would say like almost like a first half reaction, but we're freaking 14 weeks in pretty much, so it's like the season's almost over, it's like three-fourths of the damn season. My first thought is no more late bye weeks. Like I'd rather it be like week 8 through 10 where we get our bye week. Like one of those 8, 9 week 8, 9, or 10. One of those weeks. But my overall analysis of the team, the first one, let's just get this out of the way. This team is no 2023 Ravens. They're not as fun, in my opinion. Like they're just not. In fact, they're actually incredibly frustrating at points. Um, I think that this offensive production has started to decline a little bit over the last few weeks. I think a lot of that it has attributed to, the Ravens playing tougher opponents like the Steelers and the Eagles. But I mean, when you have two losses this year against teams that are going to be picking top 10 in the NFL draft, that's slightly embarrassing, honestly, in my opinion. Now I don't want to, shit on the Ravens the whole time, because they've done a lot of great things as well. Lamar's put a great campaign in, Henry's put a good campaign in, you know, Zay's having a breakout season, Bateman's having a breakout season, Mark Andrews is coming back to life. But there are just small things here and there that I feel hold us back from when it comes to either coaching discipline, or overall bad play by certain skill positions. And to me, the Ravens, you know, they miss. They don't have tone setters, first of all, in the offensive line. Let's just get that out of the way. The offensive line to me is they're not bad, because I'm not going to say they're bad, because if they were bad, they would suck against everybody. They're just average. But average turns into bad when you play better opponents to me. Like average isn't good enough. You want at least good or great or perfect or whatever, and you know, to me, when you watch those games versus the Chiefs, or when you watch them versus the Steelers, or anybody with a defensive front that's at least decent, it's like you kind of start to expect of how the game is going to go. I think the Ravens did the right thing, to start out the game in the Eagles game. But from the missed extra point to the botch snap, to fumble, whatever, to the missed throw to Isaiah Likely, you know, that kind of set the tone for the rest of the game, to me. That gave the Eagles life, because I don't think think they scored a touchdown after that. I don't remember exactly. I want to say they didn't score a touchdown right away, but we went three and out again on the next drive, I think, and then they scored a touchdown, and then they scored another one, right after that drive. But the Ravens, to me, are they don't know what they are. It doesn't seem they know what they want to be. Do they want to be a pass heavy team? Do they want to be a run heavy team? Like, what do they want to be? And honestly, you know, I can't figure out what the Ravens should do. You know, And I see a lot of people saying that Lamar has running lanes, he has opportunities to run here and there, and that's very true. But this is going to sound maybe crazy, but I think the key to continue to win is by passing the ball. And
Mhm.
maybe giving Lamar easier options, and maybe he should start taking the checkdowns more often or whatever. But there's two things that I think need to happen down the stretch. I think we need to pass more, with Derrick Henry obviously sprinkled in there. I think Derrick Henry still should get 20, 20 runs a game, 20 rushes. If the Ravens are going to be running 60 plays in a game, or 70, whatever, 30, we should have 30 passes, 20 rushes. And, 30 to 35 passes from Lamar, 20 to 25 rushes from Henry. I think that's the perfect medium, in my opinion, between those two. I don't think Justice Hill should see the field as much as he does, honestly. Because then it's getting to the predictability point where it's, you know, passing when Hill's in the game or running when Henry's in the game. Honestly, I think the Henry should get the ball more in the passing game. Keep Henry fresh, but like don't take. It feels like they take off the field too much. Like for a
Yeah.
number one back, for a main, alpha running back, they seem to take him off the field too much. So obviously you want to filter your guys in here and there, but I don't know. And then maybe Isaiah Likely's, snap should be going to a receiver at this point. Start running three receiver sets between, Zay, Bateman, and whoever you want that third option to be. Because obviously you're gonna have Mark Anderson on the field. But I don't know, man. Like it just feels like what has Isaiah Likely done over the last few weeks outside of that, great touchdown in Cincinnati and then the touchdown versus Philadelphia? What has he done ever since week one? Like I know he's on the field. I know he's running routes, but you don't get the ball. The Ravens, they can't run a two tight end set, it seems like. They can't run a set where it's just you have both the guys that can eat. Like it's one guy that's gonna eat and that's it. And Lamar's, to me, nine times out of 10 is gonna pick Mark over Isaiah. So I don't know, man. Like start scheming stuff up for Mark, maybe. Kind of like how they scheme it up for Kelsey, it seems like. So I don't know. I think the Ravens really need to figure out who they want to be over this bye week and going forward. Because if the Ravens will put up 40 or 50 versus the Giants, like that's a problem, man. That's a problem. I'm sorry. If the Ravens don't win by like three or four scores, that's a problem. I don't care. Like I don't want to see no 30 to 20 or whatever, like oh we won or whatever. Like no BS like that. I want to see 50 to 10. F it, put up 70. I don't care. Like, I mean, obviously that's probably not going to happen because Harbaugh stops after putting up 50. But
He stops at putting up 30.
yeah, that's another thing. Unless he's playing Vic Fangio, which we just did, and we didn't score 20. So I don't know, man. Like, I think we need to see changes to the offensive line, but we already know we're not going to see that because I mean, Falele's fucking terrible. I'm be honest with you, he's terrible, man. He's too large of a dude to be as a guard. He's becoming more of a roadblock than a blocker. Like
Yeah.
I don't know. When they talk about creating lanes, he doesn't create them. He's the roadblock. He's the road closed sign at the end of the freaking of the road. In that offensive line, like because you don't really have a lot of options at left guard because you got McCary, you got Voorhees, but you know I think maybe keep Bakari there, but or McCary, however you want to say it. But I mean, maybe Ben Cleveland deserves a shot. I don't know, but man, this team is confusing because it feels like they don't know what they want to be. I feel like Todd doesn't know what they want him to be just because he knows this offensive line is average to below average.
You know, and I agree, but I just want to point out what about Mark Andrews? The Mark Andrews thing is kind of something that I don't agree with. I feel like they have been trying to include him. He did get a lot of attention and that he did have some, important catches in that Chargers game. They've been doing that little QB sneak with him as of late, so they've been trying to find
Hate
ways
that
to get
play.
the ball in his hand. He was targeted in the Eagles game, so I feel like he has gotten a lot of, a little bit more attention throughout the season or throughout the end of the season. But as far as the offense goes, I do think that is true. They kind of have a hard time trying to find their identity, and you shouldn't because you have Derrick Henry. And that's another thing that gets into the discussion of okay, well, they're not creating enough run lanes for him. They're
Yep.
not as effective, and it's kind of sad because Saquon Barkley caught up to Derrick Henry. Like 2 weeks ago, Derrick Henry was like comfortably in first place for the rushing title. Now
Mhm.
Saquon has caught up to him, and so we're going to be going up against some pretty stout run defenses like the Steelers and the Texans, meaning
Yep.
and Browns too. And you won't just run 100 on them easily. So the
Right.
offense it needs to run through Lamar and Derrick Henry, and through the threat of their running abilities. And we haven't really seen enough of that. And honestly, when Lamar does take off with the ball, teams know.
Right.
He hasn't been able to be effective as he was,
Right.
4 years ago.
The
So
option game's like not there anymore. Like,
yeah, it's not there. And I kind of agree with you when you say that the Ravens need to start passing more to win because it seems like when we pass, it's very successful. But at the same time, I want to see guys like Deontay Johnson get involved. Tylan Wallace. I want to see Tylan Wallace has been good for us. I don't want to see no more Aguilar because I don't trust him. Let's get Deontay Johnson involved. Let's get Tylan Wallace involved. Let's get Likely involved. Let Aguilar be the wide receiver 4 or 5.
yeah.
And
And
then Justice
honestly, oh,
Hill,
go. Sorry.
well, I was just gonna say this. Justice Hill is a reliable receiving option.
Yeah.
So
What happened to those wheel routes? They threw
yeah,
that pick, the one in Pittsburgh. They stopped doing it. Like,
don't be
which
scared.
wasn't a pick.
Yeah,
That wasn't a pick, by the
that
way.
wasn't a pick.
That wasn't. So, but there those Consawaries are going to get the benefit of the doubt there. But speaking of the Steelers, that game right there to me is one of the most important games of the season. And I know that it's obvious, like, nah, because if we lose, they win the AFC North, all that stuff. But outside of that, just the mental block the Ravens get versus the Steelers is annoying. And that's the reason I said we'd lose when we played them earlier this year. But to me, the Ravens, obviously anything can happen. The playoffs, anything can happen. You can win, you can get hot or whatever. But to me, this game right here is the perfect time to set the tone for how the season is going to be played the rest of the year. And that could be a good thing, and that could be a bad thing. The good thing is, let's say we win. We get over that mental hump. Because now it's like we can beat these guys. It's not that we can't beat these guys. You
Yeah,
know, we can. We've had plenty of opportunities to beat them over the last few years. They're not blowing us out. Big Ben's not there throwing 6 touchdowns against us. Freaking AB's not there, shitting on Brandon Carr. Like these are close games. 16-10 or 17-10 or 18-16 or whatever the games are. They're right there in reach. And that's what I'm saying with the Ravens. They can't grit out these wins where the yards are hard to come by and you have to earn everything. For a team where you have to freaking earn your snaps, even as a veteran, they certainly don't earn stuff on the field sometimes when it comes to yardage. Like I said, some drives, they may be ugly where it's like you get to 3rd and 4 or whatever, but you get the first down or you only gain a few yards over the drive. You're not averaging 8 yards per snap or whatever. You may be averaging 3 or 4 yards per snap. That's still good enough because that's 3 snaps right there. You get the first down. Just
yeah,
continue to push the power forward, and then, it feels like the Ravens just wait for that big play to happen to change the tide of the game. Like we've seen it happen. We had that big play to Tylan Wallace in the Bengals game, changed the tide of the game. We've seen that happen. That Kolar play in Cincinnati, where he got that 60-yard reception or whatever it was, that changed the tide of the game. Seems like the Ravens kind of grew up for that, and that's great. Those plays are great, but we did that in the AFC Championship game for 60 minutes. We did that for 60 minutes game time, 3 hours in real time. We're waiting for that big play to open. Now we had the big play there sometimes with the Zay Flowers, with large gain right for the fourth quarter, but then the taunting happened and the Zay Flowers, touchdown. We had the Aguilar crosser route that got down the field. But what did we do? We shot ourselves in the foot. We had the taunting penalty, then the fumble. You had Lamar throwing the triple coverage in the end zone. Like it's these little things because if you're gonna play the game like how I was describing, where you're waiting for that big play to change the tide of the game, then you can't make mistakes. Then, because to me, you're putting yourself more of an opportunity to make more mistakes, in my opinion. So you have Derrick Henry now. You have a good, route runner in Bateman and Zay and Deontay Johnson and whatever. Maybe the short game should be the moves the rest of the way, where it's when you're playing the Steelers, you have to earn the yards because honestly, this offensive line is booty. It's ass. It's whatever you want to say it is. Earn your stuff, man. Earn your yards down the field because, like I said, when it gets colder and it gets rowdier, the wild card, divisional, championship, when you're going up and up in the ladder down the playoffs, you got to earn more. You got to show that you're going to want to earn this win. Like I said, not every there might be a game where you do win by the big play. Maybe in the wild card you play, the Broncos and you play a rookie quarterback and you're beating up on them, whatever. Yeah, that's great. But then the next week, where you're going? You're probably going to Buffalo. You're probably going to Pittsburgh. You're probably going to, Kansas City. Those are those games we got to earn that stuff. Now, I think that Buffalo is the weakest out of those three, but well, I don't know. Kansas City might be the weakest out of those three. Honestly, in all fairness, the AFC is still wide open to me. Bengals aren't in the playoff picture no more. They're out of it. We've beaten up on the Chargers. We've beaten up on the Broncos. The Texans, I feel like we can beat up on them too. They're
Yeah.
still really good, but they're just seem to be
They got
on that
injuries.
second. Yeah, they got injuries. Stephon Diggs isn't playing anymore. He got hurt. They got. I feel like they're beatable. Now, obviously, we'll see in Christmas, but I feel like there's something about them that's just not right, like how it was last year. But to me, the three big dogs in the AFC, or the two big dogs, obviously with with Kansas City and Buffalo, and then you have Pittsburgh in there. Those three teams right there are beatable as well. Because let's not sit here and act like the Ravens on a lower level below them. They're right up there with them, if not better. They are not. They are either here or there. They are better in some cases.
Mm.
But can the Ravens do what it needs, like earn the win? Like when it's like I said, where it's that gritty, that slug it out, earn your yardage type win. Are they able to do that?
Not right now.
Because think about it. In New England 2012, in Denver in 2012, they went into hostile environments, cold environments, crazy environments against two of the best quarterbacks to ever do it, and they earned everything. They earned it. It was a crazy game, but they earned everything that they got, and they got the win. Whatever, if Harbaugh wants to be a Hall of Fame coach, which he's probably going to be no matter what, it's time. Like I said, get out of your own ass and coach this damn team to a Super Bowl. Like, and the adversity might be good for us, but what are they going to do with it? That's the question. Are they going to take it and run, or are they going to take it and run away?
No, I feel like this is a chance for Harbs. They say that Harbs is like a fiery speaker when it comes to the locker room, and he really knows how to control and get the grasp of the room. And I remember back with the 2012 team, he even brought like Muhammad Ali, and he had
Mhm.
created this sort of mantra. And I feel like that's what we need to do. That 2012 team, and I'm saying this because, I really feel superstitious, it's like the every 12 years thing. That team was driven by something. It was
Mhm.
driven by their own mantra. It was driven by Ray Lewis. This team needs to find what it wants to be driven by.
Right,
And do you want to be driven by giving up
right,
and bullied around by teams that have pass rushers? Or do you want to be driven by being resilient?
right,
Having the tools to pull it out no matter what situation you're in.
right.
And that's what Harbs needs to instill in his team. That's what all the coaches need to instill in the team.
Yep,
And, I want to see Baltimore Ravens football. I want to see us run the ball. I want to see us create running lanes for Derrick Henry.
yep,
I want to see us do that. I'm tired of seeing him get ragdolled in the backfield. Because I know, I'm be for real, I never saw that with the Titans. Whenever I saw Henry run with the Titans, it was always 6 yard gain or to the
right,
house.
right. And the only
We
time he ever
destroyed,
got popped was when he played us, the physical brand of
yeah,
defense.
because we went out and got players.
Right,
We did that specifically for him and the Chiefs, and it
right,
didn't work. But we have him on our team now,
yep,
so we need to find out what we want to be driven by,
right,
and it's all mental. It really
right.
is.
And
So
I remember when me and you were talking about what the Orioles could do to win the World Series. Now, obviously, they didn't even win a playoff game, but but it's the one mindset, the hive mind mindset, where it's just we got one goal, we got one mission, let's execute it. Everybody needs to be on the same page. It feels like when you watch the Ravens in the playoffs, the offensive line's here, Lamar's here, the running backs here, the defense is down here. We're missing kicks, we're doing this, we're doing that. Nope, that's all this things that are just spiraling, out. It all needs to just come together as one. Where it's look, if we're gonna start Falele and Makari in the playoffs, they both need to just like find some kind of mental push to be like, you know what, we got bullied, but we're gonna continue to push. And so how many times have you seen in sports where the undersized guy or the guy with supposed less talent, you know, stepped up when it mattered? Sometimes that's what happens in the playoffs, where the guys who you don't expect to, give you a big performance, they give you a big performance. So it's gonna have to be, where guys may have to play above and beyond what they're actually talent. Wise is, and obviously going against Travis Jones, Chris Jones is going to be hard. TJ Watt, all these, great defensive fronts. But that's all we're going to face in the playoffs. That's all we're going to face in the playoffs. And honestly, if the Ravens let the Steelers walk in here and win the division in a few weeks, that's just telling how the season's going to finish out. Because I'm going to be real. If we come in and we score only 13 points in Buffalo
Not gonna be enough.
or 13 points in Kansas City, then I'm honestly done, man. Not like done like with the team, whatever, but there is no hope in me to believe that the Ravens can win a Super Bowl under Lamar Jackson and John Harbaugh. Because if you can't do it with the best of teams, with Lamar's contract getting only bigger from here, they went cheap at offensive line, and that's costing them now. I mean, what's stopping them from continuing to do that? So I mean, we should have had it last year, but that's over with. We can stop talking about that probably, because it's over with. But look, this is a year of adversity for us. Like from the deaths of coaches and former players to, poor play on the offensive line or in the trenches with the defense as well. I mean, the defense has gone through hell and back. I mean, they lost a lot of coaches. They lost the main defensive coordinator and not the main defense, the only defensive coordinator, Mike McDonald of Seattle. But this defense has fought adversity and is starting to see it come through. How are we as a team going to be able to fight adversity? Because the one thing that I like that what's his name? The quarterback's coach, T. Martin, I think.
Mhm.
He says, "How can we win ugly? How can we win ugly?" And because not everyone's gonna be pretty. Not everyone's gonna be pretty. But I don't know, man. Like the Ravens have to figure something out because if they continue at the pace they're going right now, we won't even make it to the championship game. We may beat up on the Chargers. We may beat up, but God forbid, we may lose versus the Texans. We may lose versus the Steelers. And now we're facing 6 and 7 seed, and you're going right to Buffalo. You're going right to Kansas City. You're going right to Pittsburgh. So it's going to be right then and there to figure it out. So it's time to change some narratives this year, man. I mean, because if Lamar doesn't win a ring this year, I mean, it's going to be the same thing all off season. Same thing. It's gonna be the same talk all year, and it's just gonna be annoying. And we're gonna have to listen to it, every single one of it, because now we're gonna think like, are we gonna change the narrative or not? Because I think slowly and slowly, I'm starting to believe less and less. But they can always instill that confidence back in me, the fan base, and even in themselves as well. Because like I said, they lose the mental battle, not even just the physical battle. They lose the mental battle easily. It seems like they get in their own head, they get in their own way. They make one mistake and it all seems to fall apart. We fumbled in the very first drive in that Steelers game, and I knew at that moment, oh my God, here we go. Like, here we go again. It's the same shit. Fumble, and then we don't know how to play all of a sudden. It's the same thing. So, the penalties, the turnovers, the overall shooting yourself in the foot, that's when right now, it's going to end, honestly. Now, obviously, you're not going to play it perfect every game, but try your best to,
Yeah,
so I don't know.
yeah, and as I see, on my TV, I looked up for a minute, we're 2 games behind the Steelers in the AFC North right now.
Yep.
And they're also showing our defensive stats, I think we're ranked like 27th. I think it showed we're ranked like 27th right now.
Mhm.
We're going to be going up against some great wide receivers.
Yep.
Well, not great, but good wide
Yeah.
receivers. Nico Collins, Tank Dell, Pickens, guys like that. Again, we need, and I feel like I feel like our defense is starting to get the memo. You know,
Yeah.
Arlo has been very outspoken. He said he had a comment that was like, whoever wants to play, we're going to get them out there and make sure they play. Whoever doesn't is going to stay on the sideline. It was something along those lines, and the defense has really been starting to get the memo. And I feel like that combined with this bye week, guys like Roquan, everybody is going to be rejuvenated and be
Mhm.
ready to play. And I hopefully, instead of going from 27 to finish off the season, we can be in the top five. You know what I'm saying? And get those two games back in order to, be tied for first and, I
Mhm.
don't know, just win the division.
Yeah.
God, Ravens got my brain scrambling. Just win the division. That's what we
Yeah.
need to do. It's
Right.
that simple, you know. It's not rocket science like how I was trying to make it a couple seconds ago. It's that simple. Just win.
Right. It's possible. I mean, the Steelers could have
Yeah.
played with the Eagles. They got to play the Chiefs. They got to play the Bengals again. Like, I mean, we got to play the Giants next, while they got to play the Eagles. So there's very much of a possibility that going in that game, we could be down only one game.
Yeah.
But we can't think ahead, obviously. But I don't know. The Ravens just got to go, play by play, drive by drive, quarter by quarter, game by game. That's just how they got to do it. And I don't know if the Ravens think ahead or whatever, but I mean, people got to step up. People got to show out. And I don't know, man, because I mean, what that first round matchup, I'm thinking like I said, it might be either in Pittsburgh or it might be here versus Pittsburgh, and or it might
Exactly.
be in Buffalo. It might be in Kansas City. I don't know where it's gonna be. It might not even be home at all. So I mean, do you think, like, there's one last question. Do you think the Ravens can figure it out, can have that hive mind mentality, and win the Super Bowl?
I think that we can. This season really, really reminds me of that 2012 season. And it like down to the T. In 2011, the team in 2011 was much better than the team was in 2012, and the team last year is much better than the team we have this year. Well, in most regards. And we defense isn't as good. We're kind of still trying to find the identity on defense. We started to find it. Now on offense, we have to really put it together.
Yeah.
And we had that in the beginning of the season, like how we had in 2012. And now we're starting to go through that little bit of a phase where we're still trying to get ourselves back up again. I feel like we can get it together and I feel like we can do it. We just got to have a mindset to drive us, to keep us confident in the playoffs, and we got to ride through Derrick Henry and Lamar. If
Yeah.
Lamar sees the open running lane, take it. Use your legs because that's what's got him this far, and that's what's
Mhm.
going to take us far. Him
Yeah.
and his legs, really.
And honestly, Lamar's indecisiveness has killed him in the postseason. You
He's
know,
so jittery.
I know.
He's like Justin Tucker right now. He's overthinking.
Yeah. Yeah. And it feels like that. You can like watch it and just feel like he's not playing his game. I know, like, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. The Chargers game, rookie year, shitty offensive coordinator, but 2019 game, I guess, I don't want to get too much on Lamar, but that 2019 game, we had all those drops by the receivers and, going for those two fourth downs. And I don't know, the Titans came in with more fire in that game. It just seems like the Ravens, again, lost an mental battle. In Buffalo, Tucker missed all those kicks in that wind. And then obviously Lamar got hurt. Lamar had that pick six, and then what was it? I guess last year, in that championship game, that was where the indecisiveness was coming, and he didn't seem to know where to go with the ball. He didn't seem to know whether he wanted to run or throw, whatever. But the way that he played that Texans game was the perfect way that he needs to play throughout the postseason. I think he only had like 180 passing yards, but he had like three passing touchdowns or two passing touchdowns, and he had 100 rushing yards. Like, play that game, man. Like how Cam Newton said, I don't know if you saw that. But Cam Newton pretty much said, like, you are given talents, God given talents that some quarterbacks dream of having. Use it. Don't let these Lamar running back jokes get to you. Don't let these, oh, Lamar can't throw and whatever high pressure situations get to you. Like, you're here because you're Lamar Jackson. You're here because of what you've been able to do in your whole NFL career or football career, which is run the ball and throw the ball. Obviously, I know you want to throw the ball, whatever, but sometimes you just got to do what you got to do, man, because you're put in spots where other quarterbacks are getting sacked or they'll throw it away. But you can make plays happen. So make plays happen,
Use those instincts.
right? You're called Action Jackson for a reason.
Yeah.
Be it.
Yeah.
So that's probably it for me.
And another thing I just want to say is I feel like Justin Tucker, he himself has got to drive himself with something too,
Yep.
because let's just be for real. 9 times out of 10, a lot of games are going to be decided by, 3 or fewer points.
Yep.
And it's going to be up to him to make those extra points. It's going to be up to him to make those field goals if we need it.
Yep.
So he has a chance to erase all of the, bad rep he's had this season if he has a good postseason. And nobody will
Yeah.
remember if he.
Exactly.
So that's the last thing I had to say. I hope he's able to really get it together, not just because I want us to win, but for his sake too, because it's sad seeing this.
Yeah, it is.
I want to see him have that longevity like Adam Vinatieri and Sebastian Janikowski and Matt
Yeah.
Prater, guys like that. So I
Yeah.
want
I mean, he can create another chapter in his legacy by doing that. I mean, imagine that he struggles all season, and in the postseason he drills game winners in Kansas City. He drills game winner in Pittsburgh. He drills a game winner in Buffalo. Let's say
I'd
we
be
win all our games because he drills 50-yard field goals plus. You know, like imagine that you rebuilt your legacy. Not that his legacy should be shot. Like it's just one bad year he's had, but he's still the best kicker of all time in my opinion. Maybe I'm biased, but he has a chance to just like cement like this would that would like lock in his legacy. You can't touch him anymore, no matter what happens the rest of the way. He did that.
Yep, I agree. So hopefully he can get to that, but it's going to be a week by week basis, a
Yep.
day to day basis,
Yep.
and it's going to take a lot of work to get at. So
Yep.
hopefully he can get there. But that's
Mhm.
all I got. There's any last words you want to say?
Nope.
That's all we got. Just a quick first half, bye week analysis of the team. We're currently 8-5. It's about 4 games left in the season. Hopefully we can get to 12-5. At least win the AFC North
Yeah.
and win the Super Bowl. Go on another run.
Yep.
But let us know down below. What is your thoughts on the first half of the season? What are who are your favorite players? Who are some players you want to see more from? Any thoughts you have, comment that down below. Also comment down below what are your thoughts on the upcoming game against the Giants? And make sure you follow our social medias, our TikTok, or Instagram, or Twitter. As I always say, Jared's cooking up some great graphics on Instagram, so make sure you show them some love. We also got some cool footage on our TikTok. Show that some love too. And make sure you subscribe to our second channel, Casual Cinema. We'll be having some reviews up there shortly. And we're Bird Spray Sports, and we're out.
Wow.